always something, isn't it? Uh, I use. I'm sure anybody who does this is probably familiar with OBS Studio. It's pretty. It's a pretty cool tool. It does a lot of different stuff, and it's fairly simple to use once you get it set up and everything running properly. But every once in a while, these things happen and go awry, and it doesn't work like you expect. So, and OBS did that to me just now. Actually, I just got it working again. So it kept giving me errors. It wouldn't connect. All I had to do was disconnect the account and reconnect it, and it here I am. So, all right. So, let's see. I was what was I doing? I mean, this thing. I just spent a half hour doing something trying to get this to work again, basically. So I'm. What was I doing? Uh, I had a restart. So let's see. Oh, I got my where I was searching for stuff. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So I'm gonna pull this story back up again. Let's see. There we go. So I closed everything, and now so and I wasn't really expecting it to work. Just logging out and then logging back in, but it did. So here we are. Uh, the group that I have that normally starts right now was nixed on the count of snow. So I figured I'd spend a little bit of time uh, talking about what I'm doing with this here. I'm going to do a find and replace. So I don't know how I'm going to do this. Let's see. Let's see. I'm going to copy Lovin Dilemma. All right. So I want to change the name on this. I just kind of picked some goofy thing that sounded Frenchy when I first started writing, just to fill it, just as a placeholder. But uh, now I got a name, so I'm going to replace it. So let's see how well this works. Whenever I place Lovin Delamore with Genevieve Judet, and I don't know if that's how you would pronounce that in French or not, but that was the name that I, in fact, came up with. Replace all. There we go. So, all right, so that should be done. Lovin de l'amour should now be Genevieve Judet. So I'm going to go through and read this first, as it is, now that it's been changed. Chin Labs, established 1681 by French explorer Genevieve Judet, a member of Robert de La Salle's second expedition up the St. Joseph River when La Salle returned to negotiate at Council Oak. Genevieve Judet set up a camp at this location to establish La Chêne Lave, the washed oak. The team of explorers had come to establish trade. Genevieve Judet joined to open the region's first bistro. She. This is why I needed to go through it. She built an enormous stone oven for cooking that became a social nexus for decades to come. In 1691, Fort St. Joseph was built. The fort traded hands a few times, then closed in 1795. Le Chien Lavé began as nothing more than a tiny impromptu cabin, but the large stone oven kept visitors coming for miles for heat and the delicious cooking. It remained open in spite of Genevieve Juday's passing and the turmoil of the time. Le Chien Lavé became quickly became a favorite location of locals as Council Oak was a traditional meeting spot for leadership of the local communities. Pierre Navarre opened his trade post in 1820, what is now known as Lever Park, moving trade a bit south. By the time South Bend was founded in 1865, La Chine Lave had been abandoned. The location had become farmland. The stone oven, all that remained, left to crumble into a heap. South Bend was becoming an industrial boomtown when the four-square Field Rock home currently on site was built in 1920. It was the first home built in the Council Oak neighborhoods. The neighboring homes were built in the 40s and 50s. As rock was needed to construct the home, the pile of stones that once made up the oven was left to rest where it lay. Arthur Sisme, the original owner, expressed interest in resurrecting the stone oven. The original address of the home was 2159, but was updated in 2151 to 2151 as the neighborhood began to develop in 1947. Arthur was an engineer for Bendix who was making brake drums in 1920. He did not get around to resurrecting Genevieve Juday's stone oven. Harold Johnson bought the home in 1945. He immediately went to work cleaning up the pile of stone. Harold said, "There's a story told for every stone in that heap." He used the stones to build a massive barbecue. The enormous grill was said to burn through a cord of wood an hour at the Johnsons' many lavish backyard parties. Harold was known to be a skilled horseshoe pitcher. Requiring a lot of upkeep and a large amount of fuel to operate, the barbecue fell into disrepair soon after Harold passed. Today, the crumbling barbecue is seeded with all types of flowers to climb the rocks. Morning glory engulfs the heap each fall. The name of the private residence has been updated to Chin Labs. Chin Labs derived from Chad and Chen. The current owners, with a tip of the hat to Genevieve Juday's La Chin Lave. The pile of stone seamlessly blends into the Chin Lab's vegetable and flower gardens. The stones are still collecting stories. All right, so there's all of the story there, all of the story. So what I'm looking to do now is to see how much of that I can actually fit. And to do that, I'm going to have to pull up my historic sign. I already imported the file, and I'm going to go with this 3D capture of or 3D model of the plaque at the Statue of Liberty. Yeah, that's what this is from. So if you read this, it looks like the plaque of Statue of Liberty. So this is fairly simple to uh, this is fairly simple to fix here. I'm going to just come through here and run this uh, negative block over the model. And I downloaded this model from Thingiverse, I would guess. I'm not 100% certain, but yeah, Thingiverse. So I'm going to do a top view and kind of pull out a ways here. so that I make sure. What I want to do is make sure that I'm deleting all of the text without deleting any of the frame. That's what I'm really looking to do here. So it looks like I'm a little bit into the frame, but what I'm going to do now is align the two objects so that they sit nicely on each other. See how it's got these dots out here? It'll align it that direction, and then I hit it again over here, and it'll align it this direction. So now whenever I combine the two objects, it should effectively delete the text that's already on there. Ta-da! All right, so there that is. I deleted the text that is on there. Fairly simple, fairly quick, fairly easy, and now it looks like it's ready to accept new text. And I'm going to address the size now because this is where things start uh, really come into play for me. I want it to be uh, wider, I think, than it is tall. And I decided on 12 by 14. And that's just based on kind of looking at some objects and deciding that this is how big the plaque needs to be legible from the sidewalk. Now, I can't print this on my 3D printer in one shot here, so I'm going to have to split it up at some point. But the first thing I'm going to do is put some text on there, right? So I don't have any text on there, and so let's go back. Let's go back, and what I'll do is I'm just going to grab maybe all of this, just for jiglets, just to see, because it fits on one page. It does fit on one page. You see that if I was to do a little bit of formatting, I got one sentence on that page. I could easily format that onto one page. So I'm wondering how effectively I can get it to fit all of that to fit within this. And to be honest, I don't know how much text it actually allows me to put into a spot. So, um, all right. So I'm gonna change it to sans because I think that looks a little tidier. Sans mono or serif. Sans. It's a little tidier. It's a little tighter too. So I don't know how many words it'll actually let me throw into this thing. I've never tested that out. So we'll see about that. Now, hmm, interesting. Okay, uh, so it's not going to let me drop like a whole paragraph into a text box here, as I had wondered, because that was what I was wondering. It's not going to just let me do that. Interesting. See, because all the text is in here. There's the last word. But if I grow the box, it doesn't actually grow the text. and I'm not seeing any options for anything but height and on its smoothing. Okay, so yeah, this is I'm using Tinkercad to do this, and this may not have been the best way to go about doing this. I don't know. It's just a very easy software to drop some shapes in together and start playing with things. Clearly, this is it's not going to be as easy to just drop some sentences in there and go. So I'm going to see what happens if I'm just going to delete this here. I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to go back over here. You know, clearly it's not going to do a whole. I'm just going to grab that first paragraph, which is essentially two sentences, and take a look. Okay, so I'm going to drop in the text again. And Hornsby Sands. And see that just changes the size of the text. It doesn't actually do much more than that. What was that? Oh, okay. So realistically, this would have to be much, much smaller, like that. And that's just shy of 3/4 inch, 0.69 inch right there. All right. So, uh, what's with the way this works, I'm wondering if this is going to be something that I would want to do with this software here or not. I'll probably, let me see, I got another, let me get rid of this here. And I'm just going to export the STL. And I'm just going to ex- export the blank historic sign because I don't really need to do that again. Historic sign blank. No point in doing that a second time. And then I think that I'll pull up some mesh mixer here. My mesh mixer recently crashed. I don't know what I was doing to make it crash, but I did something. All right, so mesh mixer is a real easy tool. I don't know that there is a text tool in it though. I'm not 100% certain. Mm-mm, it doesn't appear to be. I was just curious if there was. I mean, it does do letters, but it's like literally one at a time. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna come back over here. And it happens sometimes. I haven't tried something like this before, to be honest. It's kind of like an idea you have. You're like, "Oh, I want to make this fake history for my house and put a historic sign out there." And you can put text on things in Tinkercad because I've done it. I mean, you can see that you can do it, but there's a limit to how much it handles easily. So uh, I'm going to have to. Uh, I'll probably. I've got Adobe 3D, and I've also got Blender. I don't know that Blender will do this for me or not. Uh, Dropping text in Blender is not any easier. Yeah, actually, I think it's going to be a lot harder to get it. To be honest. So okay, so I don't think that it'll be any easier in Blender to make that 3D to make that much 3D text. So I think that there might be some kind of opportunity with Adobe because Adobe has so many cross-platform options. I'm wondering if it might not handle text in a little better. Um, I'll have to poke around and see. But I got the model about the size that I want it. I think that 14 inches by 12 inches is probably about the size that it needs to be out there on that pole. I don't know that it really needs to be any bigger. Um, and I might go like to 18 by 16, but that's pretty good size. 18 by 16, you know. So this is an 18-inch ruler here, 18-inch ruler. So it would be the size of this ruler, you know. That's a good size sign. 18-inch. I think it's a little bit. I don't know. I mean, it is supposed to be historic marker sign, so I mean, sometimes those are a little bigger. Maybe I can go to 18-inch just to get more text into it. So the idea today was to get it sized and hopefully to decide how much text I could actually get, how many paragraphs I was going to be able to get away with. Uh, the reality is um, dropping that in there the way that that's working. You're really going to have to do a few words at a time to get control of what to know where it's going to start and stop at, and uh, it will take some patience to get things lined up and to look good. So, if that is indeed the way to go about have to go about doing it, it would be an arduous way. It would be possible, but you would definitely want to cut down the amount of text that you're going to put in there. Having a whole page of text to do that way is going to be an arduous task. Just a few words at a time because it was going to be like 5 or 6 words there, and it was going to cut you off. So you want to know where it's going to stop. It'd be easier to deal with a space between words than a word that's cut in half. So you would want to definitely uh, it looked like 5 or 6 words at a time, and then trying to get it all lined up and make them look like sentences and paragraphs on there. That would be the option with Tinkercad if that was the way that you have to go. I think there might be an option with Adobe. Um, I'm not as familiar with that particular 3D software. I don't use it very often because usually these other few These other one, Blender does pretty much everything, pretty pretty much everything, and Tinkercad is pretty powerful. Does quite a few things and makes it pretty quick and simple usually. Same thing with Mesh Mixer. It does quite a few things and does it fairly simply and quickly and nice and tidy. So you using those three, I usually can do pretty much anything I want. But dealing with text is something I have not tried to do, or at least that much text. It's different to try to put somebody's name on something, or put the word private or on something, or you know make a sign with a word or two on it. It's a big difference what I'm trying to do here. So the text insert on this was obviously not made to handle a whole paragraph at once. It doesn't give you the options to create a text space there, to say how I want the text to fit within this space. And that's how generally it would work. And, you would tell it to be this many point, and, be 12 point, and you got to fit in the space. And it would just cut the text off wherever, and then you could make the big space bigger if you wanted to, or you might have to make the text smaller if it's not going to fit, if that's all the space you got. But that would be, it's pretty simple in most of the other Adobe applications. I'm wondering if there's not something similar to that we're doing in here. I'll just have to take her with it. So I didn't quite do what I wanted to do. I did get OBS working again though, so I guess I updated OBS. It kept screaming at me for an update, so it'll stop screaming at me for an update now. Hey man, I got an update for you. What do you want me to do? Ignore. Got an update, but I know that there's people out there, that are software developers out there, that are smart enough to understand that if I just open that piece of software up, I'm not interested in waiting for 5 minutes for the thing to update itself. I opened it up so I could use it right then and there. So I don't know. It seems like these software updates could be a little more intelligent in some way or another. I guess that they don't want just things happening willy nilly. Most people don't want things happening willy nilly. Want things happening just behind the scenes on them all the time. So just deciding it's going to update all of a sudden, and because sometimes those updates are they're aggressive. It does things to your software. So I don't know. Kind of funny. Uh, this thing pulled the chat up. Yeah, so this update signed me out of the chat module that was on here. I think. Let me see. I mean, it's not like I used this thing regularly. Yeah, I'll figure that out another day. I'm not too worried about that now. It's wanting me to sign in as sign into chat again. I don't know my passwords for all that stuff. The computer has it all, and that's not just auto filling it for me. So I don't know what the deal is with that. But it's not like I use it very often. Sometimes the chat comes in handy for this. I use OBS to do some, and the live stream to do a variety of things. Today, my intentions are, I've been working this project to create this fake history about my property here, because I got a lot of people that walk by. We're on a busy street, so got a lot of people walk by. I'm going to put a historic sign out there, one of those things that look like a historic landmarker out there, so people can read some bullshit and they can decide whether it's true or not. But the uh, yeah, I'm done with this. I don't want to get more out of this. Yeah, so I wanted to make a fake history about the house, and that was kind of the point. That was kind of the point. But the OBS allows me to kind of track the process a little bit, so that you can kind of go a behind the scenes type thing later if you wanted to do something of that nature. Here's here's what you did. So and it doesn't cost you anything to save stuff on YouTube's servers. So you just pop it up there, say some stupid stuff. But I don't know that this is going to be a useful video or not, seeing as how I wasn't successful in making text appear on my piece there. So I'll have to do a little bit of research. I got lunches coming up, and I wasn't expecting to spend this kind of time messing with OBS, and wasn't exactly sure what to expect with Tink whenever I started dumping that much text in there. Um, I kind of wondered if it would work. I wasn't sure. I'd never tried to dump a whole paragraph in, or a whole sentence for that matter. So I didn't. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. But it looks like a few words at a time is the best you're going to do with Tink. Uh, the other one was like a letter at a time. That would be a nightmare to get all that. I mean, there's auto, but there's no like kerning or nothing like that. Like the spacing and all that stuff. It's really difficult to get those objects to look like typed text uh, manually and make it look nice and clean. It's a lot of work. So if you can get the computer to type the text for you properly and drop that in there, that would be the way to go about it doing it. So uh, I just got to find a software that accommodates that a little bit better. I think Adobe might, just because Adobe deals with that type of thing in other applications easily. So it might be something that they do with this one fairly easily too. I'll have to see. But uh, that'll have to be whenever I after work today, later on. So I'll if I figure something out, I'll pull it back up and we'll pin the we'll do that part then. Maybe I'll figure the chat out. I don't know. I really don't care. I really don't care about that much. I think it's not even up there now. So couldn't see it if somebody was chatting at me anyway. All right, time to go.